Hello, welcome back. We are so excited about today's topic. We're talking about the visibility wound, and Elvira and I are excited to chat about this because we know so many, especially women, but men too, struggle with this visibility wound, and it may not be what you think it is, right? And this is what we want to dive into today because we know this is one of the main reasons that experts that we see out there that are so talented and they have so many years of experience and so much good work to share with the world, but they are struggling with this visibility wound and it is holding them back from having the success they desire. Not just that, it's holding them back from literally being in their mission, like for
Yeah.
thriving in their mission, which is what we have created. Our community is all about thriving in your mission. And so we
Yes.
are really passionate about today's topic and we want to dive in here. So we were just talking a little off stage about this visibility wound. And sometimes we think, oh, I don't feel comfortable being seen. I don't feel comfortable sharing myself, or I'm more of a private person, or you just don't like to, get online and market yourself. And I'm sure you've felt that, like, oh, I hate marketing. I have to do this social media thing, right? But we know it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
So, Elvira, do you want to give your 2 cents
Yeah.
before I dive
Oh,
into this?
thank you, Tavia. Yeah, this is such an important conversation, guys. Like, honestly, Tavia just showed me this video recently, and I was so amazed by the science behind it, really, right? Right, Tavia, would you call it the
Yes.
science, right? It's
Yeah.
not just historical. It's actually like
Hmm.
what happens and I want to reflect this properly. Because of the past, because we were suppressed in the past by patriarchal culture, right? That was, scared of powerful women because they wanted to control us. We were, like witches were burned at the stake. They were drowned, right? Women
Yes.
were told to, be chaste until they were married. And I don't know why that one came through, but it's like
Mm,
there's this, the
that's
men
true.
could go out and yeah, they could sow their oats, but the women had to be chaste. So it's like controlling. I'm so many more examples, right? Those are just a couple. But but this idea that this is what's in our DNA, is this fear of being out there and being seen because it's not safe to be seen. And so this is why, we're so passionate about what we do, Tavia, because first of all, we've struggled with these visibility wounds. We each have our own stories, which we can talk about, where we were kept small in the box for someone else's comfort. And, how crazy that is, right? But it's like, but it's, as much as we were flowers trying to bloom, we were squashed, and yet it felt like, okay, but this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to, like I remember my mother, she was such a product of the patriarchy. She was so conditioned that, she just stayed at home. Also, she was introverted. She would stay at home and she would sew and she'd never go out. And so I was this like really wild teenager, right? Not that wild, like I wasn't smoking dope or anything, but I loved to go dancing and wear fancy
Mm,
clothes. And when she'd see me going out the door, she would shame me. She would say like why can't you be more like me? And why are you wearing that? And you've got too much
mm,
makeup on. And so she would try to make me like her and put me in that box, right? And I just
yes.
remember still going out, but then feeling this shame, and when guys would approach me, I would just like turn them away because I had this shame around being
Hmm.
seen. I remember
Hmm.
that so vividly as like a young 20 something. And and my God, if I could go back and do it again, I would just say, Mom, thank you very much. I know that's you. It's not me. I would have compassion for her, but instead I had anger and I had shame, and I stayed, I tried to play within her, her like, within her color, within her lines, but I didn't. And when I didn't, I felt shame. So it's like, so it was in my DNA
Yes.
to play small. And this is what they talk about in that video, is that, historically, we all have it in us to play small because of this patriarchal conditioning, and it's
Yes.
been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So I want to ask you, Tavia, what else from that video is coming to the surface for you that you want to share?
I mean, she just talked a lot about, the generational trauma, right?
Yeah,
Because it's passed through our DNA. It isn't just you were born in this time and you just showed up with this personality and, that's who you are. Yeah, you do have your own personality, but there are these things that are carried within our mother's wound, and it's passed down from our grandmother, our great grandmother, our great great grandmother. So the trauma that they experienced at that time is passed down if they do
yeah,
not heal it.
yeah,
If it's healed, then we break the generational
yes,
cycle. But if it's
yes,
not healed, it will be passed down. And so I understand exactly what you're saying, because as a child, there are things that I felt like I couldn't express myself a certain way. I was told I was too sassy. You need to stop being so sassy. You need to stop being so bold and audacious. Like, why are you, being that way? Right. And it was this judgment. And then instead of us saying, well, that's just who I am and owning it, we say, okay, well, let's change because I want to feel accepted. And
yes,
now, as an adult, it shows up in our business.
yes. Oh,
It's
it's crazy
so
making,
true,
right?
right? But this is how
Yeah.
we show up in our
This is the
business.
why. Yeah, this is the why
Yes. And
behind it.
it's a wound
Yeah,
that's why we're calling it the visibility wound, because that's what
yeah,
it is. It is
yeah,
stopping you from showing up in your full self expression because you're afraid, or you have a fear, a legitimate fear of
yeah,
rejection or not being accepted or not being taken seriously or whatever
yeah,
it is. And so you don't show up in your full self expression. And guess what? You're doing the world a disservice because they're not seeing you and your
yeah,
truth, and they're not
yeah.
getting the magic because they're
Oh,
getting a watered down version of you that isn't going
exactly.
to change anyone. And this is why we're very passionate about what we want to teach our, collective, and the people in our
Yes,
community and whoever we
yes,
work with, is that it's okay to be safe. It's safe. You're
yeah,
safe. And it's okay to be seen in all of you, who you are, because
yeah,
that's what's going to change the world. And when you heal this wound, you literally, as a collective, as a conscious community, collectively, we start to heal individually, we will heal the collective. This is
yeah.
literally why we do this work.
Oh,
Elvira and I
oh
are
my God.
very,
I'm just giving you
very
snaps for that.
right.
Yeah, that was so
It's so
beautifully
true.
said. Yeah,
Right.
it's so true. Because I probably quoted him before because I quote him all the time, but the Dalai Lama said that the world will be saved by the Western woman. And I know you and I both believe that, Tavia, but only when the Western woman has healed the women
Yes.
wounds, the visibility wounds, right? They're all kind of connected. But this idea that when we talk about it and we state that, yeah, it wasn't just me, it was you too. And then we realize it was all of us, right? This is part of our humanity to
Yes.
have been conditioned this way by the patriarchy. And that's why we're in the box. But when we decide together to bust out of that box, guess what? We are going to save the world. The Dalai Lama said the world will be saved by the Western woman only when the Western woman has healed enough to bust out of the box and be her, in my words, aligned, authentic, fully self expressed self. Do you agree with
Yes.
that?
100%. a hundred
Yeah.
percent. And I mean, what we're basically saying here is that you have to stop playing small. You
Yeah.
are people pleasing all over the place. You're people pleasing in your business because that's a
Yeah.
wound. And
Yeah.
now you're playing too nice, people
Yeah.
pleasing, afraid to be seen. All of
Yeah.
these things are stopping you from being who you're meant to be in the world, basically.
Yeah.
All of you are meant to be something, right? We're not just a blip in this big universe.
Yeah.
Actually, you have a purpose, you have a divine purpose. And this
Yes.
is what we believe, that everybody has a mission. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. it, when you think mission, it doesn't have to be this big massive
Yeah.
thing, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
It could be a small mission, but that's your mission. And
Yeah.
maybe it's just in your community, maybe it's
Yeah.
just, something just like literally where you live. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be this big, massive thing. It could
Yeah.
be massive, but whatever it is, you're here for a reason. And these are the things that are holding you back. And when nobody starts a business to just play small, nobody
Yeah.
starts a business because they're like, oh, that would be fun. No, you want to come here, you want to create something that's going to make you money and make a difference. Everybody who
Yes.
becomes an
Thank you.
entrepreneur is
Yeah.
here to make a difference, whether it is something like a product or you as a service. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Every entrepreneur I have met since I became an entrepreneur has always shared their passion from this is my why.
Yeah.
It's never like, oh yeah, I just thought that'd be fun. Nobody I have ever spoken to that
Yeah.
started a business has said that would be fun. Yeah, of course we want it to be fun. We also want to make money. We also want to make a difference.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is why you do it, right? And
Yeah.
even
I
if you
love
do it
it.
on the side, maybe you have a full-time job, that's okay too, right?
That's okay too.
But
Start that
right,
way and
maybe
maybe
that's
stay
the way
that
you
way
start.
or
Yes.
or transform it, right? And what I love about what we do is it's a business incubator for people that are trying to launch businesses, and it's a business accelerator for people that want to take it to the next level. And so we don't have to do this inner work alone. We don't have to talk about these things that nobody talks about,
Mhm.
and they will make a difference. Like just talking about this, I pray that this video that you're watching right now is an activation for you to take your mission to the next level, to be more visible, to get on, do that video that you've been terrified of. Because you know what? It's in your bones to be terrified of it, it's in your DNA. But now that we've talked about it, hopefully you feel a little more released, if not totally released, to go and do it
Yes.
anyway. Do it
Go do
anyway.
it.
That's what we invite you to. And this is what I love about the collective. I just wrote a few little notes down before jumping on camera, but the collective is about being more visible and being inspired and supported by loving yet badass conscious community and being guided by intuitive strategy. You and I, we're damn good at it, so that we can all thrive in our mission, right? We're all doing this
Yes.
together. And so it can be scary if you've got these old patterns and conditions in you. So joining a community, you don't have to do it alone. You get to do it with other amazing people, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
A hundred
Oh my God.
percent.
So good.
When you do it with a community of people where you feel safe, you feel seen, you feel heard,
Yeah.
you feel accepted, that's like a big
Yeah.
one. You feel accepted
Yes.
to
Yes. Not
be who you
judged,
are.
accepted.
No
Yes.
judgment. Judgment free
Yes. Yes.
zone is so important in a community. I
Yeah.
know Elvira and I have been in many communities. If I
Yes.
ever felt like this wasn't my tribe or I don't feel accepted, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the truth.
Exactly.
If it's not my people, it's not my tribe, because that's how I am. I don't judge people. I'm very
Yeah.
accepting. I'm very like, you know what, I'm open, I'm caring. If my
Yeah.
people in
Same.
this community are not like that, I'm not going to stay. So
Yeah.
you have to be in a community that helps, like, what is it, rising tide lifts all
Yeah.
boats,
Lifts all
right?
boats. Yeah. And we
that's
help them
that's
all
what
to
it
flourish. We
that's
help them to
right.
flourish because we don't judge them. We love them. We want to see them grow. And then we've created this amazing, with them, of course, with our founding membership, we've created this amazing community culture, this beautiful culture where people are just, like supporting one another, loving on each other, not judging, just wanting to see the next person grow, right? And with that
Yes.
kind of power behind you, you can't help but grow. Like, and we're seeing them grow in our community, because they realize they don't have to be perfect. They get to be real. They just get to move forward. We're still, this is still new to us. It's less than a year, and we're still building the plane while flying it. But the fact is, we're getting the feedback. We're making it better and better, and we still have some spots at $100 discount per month. So
Hmm.
that's $97 a month, USD. So honestly, like that is peanuts for what you're getting,
Peanuts.
because you are getting to be inspired by this beautiful community. You're getting to be supported by Tavia and I, who have had, like, I don't know how many gazillion years in business. I've been 20. I think you've been 15.
11, 11,
11.
12.
Okay.
12.
Yeah. Sorry, what am I saying? 20 in big pharma, but now
Yeah,
30. Yeah, so it's 30, 35 for me and 11 for
there
you.
you go.
So
Yeah.
those are the years of experience that you have at your beck and call, because we
Yes.
just intuitively pull out what you need in order to keep moving forward and forward and forward in inspired action, to be visible, to make the difference so that you can get the divine clients you need to make the biggest difference you were brought here to make, right? And
Yes.
people generally, entrepreneurs don't want to be seen, they don't want to sell, they don't want to market, but guess what? That's what gets you clients. So
That's
get
what
out of
gets you
your own effing
clients.
way, as I like to
Yeah,
say, get out of your own effing way. Effing stands for fear and ego, right? And do it anyway. And so this is why we came together, Tavia. And it is so, so beautiful that I get to do this with you. We get to benefit from it too. I benefit from everybody's input, and watching them to pop and transform and evolve and take inspired action, because when someone takes inspired action, it inspires you to take inspired action, right? So
exactly.
we're doing this, right? Rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you feel like this is a community you would like to be a part of, then we have an application process. It's just a questionnaire we have you fill out, and then you hop on a call with Elvira and talk it through and see if it's the right fit. We want to make sure it's the right fit for you and for our
Yeah.
community members.
Yeah.
So we have the application process. We'd love to invite you to check it out. I'll put the link below. And if you have any thoughts on this topic, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop your comments
Yeah.
below and let us know if what came up for you as we were talking about this visibility wound today. We'd love to hear. And until next
Awesome.
time, bye for
We'll see
now.
you. Bye.
Bye.